Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Today I have an incredible Solar Hunter build for you. I can't remember the last time that Solar Hunter was viable as an in-game build, but after quite a few balance patches, starting with the Edge of Fate and most recently with the Halloween update, Solar Hunters are actually pretty incredible. So today we'll be going over a build that gives Solar Hunters survivability as if they had Devour, alongside some insane ability spam and damage output. Also, playing on Solar gives you an excuse to use the infinite ammo super just for fun if you wanted to. Now, before we begin, I am going to jump scare you with some statistics. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed. That's okay. I understand that your sub feed is a sacred place, but I would love to be a part of it. I do my best to put out entertaining and informative Destiny 2 content, and if you enjoy builds like this, then you should definitely subscribe. I also have a Discord server that I'm trying to grow, linked in the description, and I would love to see you there too. Now, that's enough of that. Let's actually look at what you came here for, that being the build itself. The first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, our exotic armor piece, which is one that was recently revived from the dead, and that is young Ahamkara's spine. This exotic, once extremely popular, fell off when Bungie decided to nerf it. Just recently, though, they decided that it had spent enough time in the Shadow Realm, and it's now pretty much back to its former glory. This exotic reads, increases trip mine grenade duration and blast radius, ability damage grants trip mine grenade energy. So first, taking a look at in-game what this does to our trip mines, well, the biggest thing that it does is something that it doesn't even say, and that's that it does more damage. But how much? Well, here we can see our base trip mine does 838 damage. If we then equip a young Ahamkara's spine, that number becomes 958. Which is a 14% damage increase. For some of the other things going on behind the scenes, if we take a look at this clip, we can see that trip mine grenades do a lot of self-damage without the exotic equip though, because if we equip that, our grenades no longer deal any self-damage, which is a massive bonus, and it gets even more benefits like increased durability and larger area of effect. As for the second half of this exotic, we have the ability regen portion. Any ability damage, including the trip mine itself, will refund a massive chunk of the grenade. You see here, one grenade does most of it, and then one melee will give us our entire grenade back. This definitely allows us to spam our abilities and just kind of increase our lethality. And moving away from our exotic armor piece, if you've been watching any of my recent build videos, you might notice a pattern. We're actually going to skip an exotic weapon. I try my best to make good builds that you guys can use in whatever content you're trying to tackle, and I can't really in good conscience recommend a build that massively restricts your loadout. Like, imagine trying to do a Grandmaster Conquest with Skyburner's Oath. So, this build requires no exotic weapon, but it does have one stipulation: you should have a solar weapon. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Before that, let's dive into the subclass. Starting with our super, you can really choose any of the three, but I've been having a lot of fun messing around with the infinite ammo golden gun. But if you're in truly difficult content, then 3-shot Goldie is also really good, or Blade Barrage, which can be better if you actually need the damage. Then for our class ability, we'll be using Gambler's Dodge. This ability will be used to refund our melee and have a better cycle between all of our abilities. As for what our melee will be, I landed on Knife Trick, as this felt the best in most PvE activities. And then our grenade, well, it has to be Trip Mine Grenade, or our exotic won't really work. But now, moving on to our aspects, the most important one for this build is On Your Mark. This reads, activating your class ability or landing precision hits grants you and nearby allies increased reload speed and weapon stat for a short duration. Stacks 10 times. Final blows while at 10 stacks cure you. Now, I know it's a surprise to see this aspect recommended, but they actually have been massively buffing it. So looking at what this aspect now does, first thing we need to showcase is how stacks are built. As you're seeing, any precision hit will grant us a stack, even if those precision hits come from a rapid fire weapon like an SMG. This makes it extremely easy to get to max stacks. As for the benefits we will be reaping, we of course have all of our stat increases, but the main one is that while at max stacks, any kill will cure us and refresh the stack timer. And that is really any kill. We can use our non-precision weapons, we can use our abilities, we can even just punch something to death. And there really isn't a cooldown on the cure. So as long as you're getting kills, you're pretty much unkillable yourself. Now, back in our class, we have the second aspect, and this one matters much less than the first, but we use Gunpowder Gamble. With this aspect, it will give us an extra grenade ability that is charged by getting kills. In game, we can see our progress bar on the left. Weapon kills give 1 pip, abilities give 4. And then when we do eventually get it charged, throwing that grenade will cause an ignition to happen shortly after, or we can of course do the usual and shoot it to blow it up early. But the best part of this aspect for the build is that the extra grenade feeds into our trip mine energy thanks to young Ahamkar's spine. But now onto our fragments. The first one we use is Ember of Resolve. This fragment causes our grenade final blows to cure us, which is a nice source of redundancy if we're ever not at max on your mark stacks. After that, we have Ember of Torches. This will cause our melees to make us radiant, which is very nice for the increased damage, anti-barrier capabilities, and some artifact synergy we'll cover in a moment. Then we have Ember of Singeing, which will cause our dodge to come back quicker whenever we scorch enemies. Our knives and grenades do that, meaning our dodge is always on the fast track. And then we have Ember of Searing, which will give us little bits of melee energy whenever we kill scorched enemies. This is just a nice passive effect for helping the loop drop less often. But now, out of our subclass, I want to circle back around to the topic of weapons. The only thing that we need for this build to work is a weapon that can hit crits. This is so that we can proc on your mark. Ideally, use something that spits bullets like an SMG, given Butyte Apex, or even the new Gunburn SMG. It really doesn't matter, but I find myself using the ever boringly powerful combo of Mint Retrograde and Butyte Apex. I think I've featured this one weapon combo in like my last 4 builds. But so long as you're not using 2 fusion rifles or 2 shotguns, you should be good with this build. Now, after weapons, let's talk armor. For this build, we actually want to have pretty even stats. I run 100 grenade, class, and weapons. Then I have high super and 50 melee. You can shift some stuff around here though. For example, you can drop all weapons and invest into going over 100 grenades for more damage there. Or you could try to get melee up to 100 for more melee spam and better ability cycling. The only things that I would say are 100% necessary are the grenade and class stats. But now for our armor mods. On the helmet, we run a special ammo finder and a siphon that matches whatever weapons you're using. On the arms, we'll be using 1 firepower to get orbs from grenade kills, 1 bolstering detonation to get a bit of class ability back on grenade damage, and then 1 impact induction to get a bit of our grenade back on melee damage. This is like having a second proc of our exotic armor piece. Then on the chest, well, you guessed it, we run an ammo generation mod and some resists. And then on the leg, we run a recuperation to get a bit of health on orb pickup, then an absolution to get a small amount of all of our abilities on orb pickup, and then a scavenger that matches whatever special weapon you're using. And then on the class item, we run a special finisher to make special ammo on command, a powerful attraction to suck up any orbs whenever we dodge, and a proximity ward to become invincible when doing finishers. Now for the final topic, we have the artifact. The first mod we like is Fever and Chill. This perk will cause our solar weapons to make us radiant when getting precision hits. This is why we use a solar weapon, and it will synergize nicely with On Your Mark, as that also requires precision hits to activate. After that, we have Radiant Shrapnel. This will cause weapon damage while radiant to spawn little solar seekers. It will also spawn them on scorched enemy kills, and these little seekers will scorch themselves, feeding more into our subclass. And then the last perk we use is Shield Crush for the grenade portion of it. While radiant, our grenades deal 25% more damage and regen just a bit quicker. This is very nice for our grenade spammy build. And then finally, we have the gameplay loop. To begin, we want to focus on getting to max stacks of On Your Mark. This means getting 10 precision hits. If you have a rapid fire weapon, this is done extremely easy, and it actually gets easier in harder content as health bars get larger. Once you are at 10 stacks, you are also likely radiant due to the artifact, and you can now just begin to spam trip mine grenades and the rest of your abilities. It should be a nice cycle of a trip mine grenade and then your knives, and then either a dodge or another trip mine grenade, and whenever you've gunpowder gamble charged, toss that too. Each kill we get will be curing us no matter from what source, keeping us in the fight. When you don't have a grenade or a knife, that's when you should be dodging, but do remember, if you've nothing, weapons still keep you topped up and will contribute towards gunpowder gamble, which you can then use to get your trip mine back through ability damage. Also, use your super at your discretion. I kind of just pop mine whenever, but this is because I'm using the rapid fire Goldie. Saving 3-shot or blade barrage for a boss, champion, or mini boss would be best. And I genuinely think that's all I have to describe for the loop. You throw a grenade, you throw a knife, and you throw a grenade. Just repeat that and have infinite cure procs, and you should be good. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's build. If you want to support me, support the channel, a like, a comment, a subscription, joining the Discord goes a very long way. If you want to support me, support the channel, but you can't think of a comment down below. Trick or treat, because this is going out like right before Halloween, I think. With that, as usual, I hope you are having a great day, and I hope to see you around.